First of all, tell me about the aesthetic of a film. In what you base the look of a film, because it's very particular. You know what I mean? It's not a very common film to look at. No, it's very
Mm,
beautiful, very beautiful.
mm. Like the look of the films, so much about a film, I'm just trying to follow my intuition and respond to the things that I'm feeling inspired by. It's always a combination of like following the creative and also following the logistics of just
Uh-huh.
practicality of making a movie. And so I was initially inspired by Warsaw. I had been living there. I wanted to make a movie there. The things that I was drawn to in Warsaw are these buildings that are from the communist era. They're from the 70s. And so that's a specific aesthetic already that the visuals are giving me. And then I was going to be making this movie with a really small crew, but in a city. And we were going to be moving around to lots of different locations. We were going to be getting on and off of trams and metros, going up and down stairs. And so because my crew's so small, I didn't want a lot of equipment. And so I wanted to do handheld just because that made my life easier as the cinematographer.
Hmm.
So it's this combination of both the practicality of just what the shoot is going to look like and the fact that I already felt like I was making a movie that like wanted to be in conversation with films of the 60s and 70s because of what I was seeing in front of the camera. And so it's how those two things combine, I think, that creates this specific movie.
It shows, you know what I mean?
Mm.
What it got my attention from the first day when I was in the Toronto Film Festival was the title of a film and the subject, because you know what I mean. In my perspective, right now we are living a very strange times regarding relationships, you know, between
Mm.
humans,
Mm-hmm.
uh, close relationships, romantic relationships, and the name of the film, Eruption, no, Erupción, as we say it in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally the opposite, and and I love that. Do you know
Mm.
what, Pete? And I think it's very moving, the movie. Uh, I don't know if that was your intention on making this movie at all.
Mm. I mean, the idea of the volcano came very coincidentally. It was from a conversation I was having with a stranger, basically. And I mentioned that I was living in Warsaw, and he said that he was once stuck in Warsaw in 2010 when that volcano in Iceland erupted. And I had been living in Iceland in 2010 as well. So there was this coincidence that made this story that this person was telling me more significant for me. And then I love metaphor. I love thinking about metaphors. I love trying to explain the world through metaphors. And
Yeah.
so as I started engaging with the idea of a volcano and how it what it says about relationships, how it works as a metaphor, I started to think about how explosive, dynamic, destructive, powerful love a relationship can be, and then at the same and it's this big seismic cosmic thing, a huge natural disaster. Um, and at the same time, these situations that we find ourselves in as humans are like kind of so small on the human level, and yet we
Definitely.
feel them so strongly that a person we met when we were 16 years old can stay with us for the rest of our lives. That is as powerful as a volcanic eruption, even though it's the tiniest little blip of a life. Um, and 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 that excited me, that idea, the way in which we zoom in or zoom out, the perspective we could have on any experience that we have in life, that how significant or insignificant it can be, and that everything is relative. So an eruption needn't be destroying Pompeii
Mhm.
for it to have immense significance in a human's life.
Yeah. Um, do you believe in destiny, Pete?
Mm. Do I believe in destiny?
Yeah.
I love the quote from Princess Mononoke that the wise woman says, which is, "You cannot change your fate. You can rise to meet it if you choose." so in some ways, I do believe in destiny. I believe that there's some sort of path that is there in front of us.
Hmm.
And if we can let go enough, if we can open ourselves up enough to see it, we might be able to follow it. We might be able to make our way and actually reach it, but it's not guaranteed.
That's beautiful. Years ago, I had the chance to interview Sandra Bullock, and I
Mm,
asked her about how what it's more difficult to have luck in your professional life or to have
mm,
luck in your love life. And
mm,
she said right away, definitely, it's more difficult to have luck in your love life,
mm.
relationships. Do you agree with that?
The way I view and try to view everything as pretty holistically. So I don't even know if I would make it different. I'm like, it all is all one life. I don't think it's necessarily more difficult to have luck in work or in love. I think all of it is next to impossible.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you're lucky when it happens. It is not guaranteed. It is very rare to find yourself, because like we can have relationships, we can have partners, but to have and we can have jobs, but to have
But
truly
that's not the
meaningful,
point. You know what I mean? Uh-huh.
yeah, it's to get somewhere deeper, something more significant, something that
Exactly.
connects in
Exactly.
a more special way. Um, and 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 I think to find a work situation that really resonates in some powerful way is you're lucky when you find that, and you're lucky when you find it in love too.
Mm. Pete, the element of the voicing off in your movie, how did you make that decision? Because it's also very, for me, it's very important in your film,
Yeah.
and it's very risky. You know what I mean? The element of the voicing off
Mm,
sometimes works, sometimes didn't work. But I think I'm not saying because I'm interviewing you right now, but in your film, it really works.
I'm very happy to hear that. It wasn't an idea from the beginning. Kind of nothing is the way I make movies. It's very much moving towards the unknown and discovering the film as you make it. And I view it all very holistically. So who knows when what idea is going to present itself, and it's all just a journey to help the movie reach its final form. So I was editing the movie. Some things were working, a lot of things weren't. And it wasn't until showing the film to some friends that one of my filmmaker friends gave me some feedback, and he said, "Have you thought about doing a voiceover?" And I said, "Yeah, I thought about it. We'd already tried. We had tried having Charlie do a voiceover where she was reading poetry as Bethany that she had written as a child, as a 16-year-old girl." Um, and that didn't work. And so it's like, yeah, I'm trying, but it's still hard to find the thing that, really brings the movie together. And he said, "What if you did a voiceover like Jules and Jim?"
Hmm.
And so we turned on Criterion Channel and we pressed play on Jules and Jim because I hadn't seen it before. And so we started to watch it, and
Hmm.
immediately I heard this voiceover and this particular kind of point of view that the narrator can provide. And that got me very excited to try. And so I started writing voiceover and putting it in as this older Polish man who has an objective perspective and isn't as caught up in the romanticization of these lives that are being lived. And that allowed me to bring a lot more of myself to the movie, to bring a lot more of my sense of humor, and also I think to help the audience understand what the film's point of view is on this situation that is being shown. That the film isn't taking this too seriously either. That the film has a sense of humor about how important a human feels they are as they live their life.
We love Charlie XCX here in Mexico, as the rest of the world does, no? But
Mm-hmm.
how she came into your project? How she was in the beginning, also in the genesis of the film?
Yeah, I mean, she came to the project in a magical way, in there was luck there. I had been living in Warsaw and I had already decided to make a movie there. I didn't know what the movie was going to be yet. And then I was in New York City visiting, and I was hanging out with Jeremy O'Harris, who's one of my best friends. He's also a producer and a writer and an actor in the movie. And we were at a bar in his neighborhood at 3 o'clock in the morning, and Charlie just happened to walk into that bar. Jeremy knew her enough to go over to her and say hi, and he brought her over to our table, and he
Talking
introduced.
about luck, no?
I know. Well, Jeremy brought her over to our table and he introduced us and he is one of my favorite people. He's also one of my favorite cheerleaders. He really says nice things about me to other people, which I appreciate. And so he to Charlie, he said, this is Pete. He's this filmmaker. We just made a movie together last year, and he has this really interesting process. Because the way I make movies is very not traditional. And she said, "What's your process?" And I described it, and the process that I described was something that she was looking for. She was looking to get into film, to get to do some acting. The way I make movies is really low stakes. It's really collaborative, um, and and it's really fun. And after I described the way that I make movies, she said she wanted to. She said, "I want to do one." It was really that simple. And I said, "You can do one." And 3 months later, we were shooting a movie. When we met, it was May of 2024. So that was before Brat even came out. But she already knew that she wanted to get into movies, that her mind was already sort of beyond Brat. It was already on this new era that she's in. And her new album is called Music, Fashion, Film. These were things that were already on her mind that she wanted to move towards, and so the stars just aligned for us to get together in Poland and make a movie together, and I feel very lucky.
Heraldo Podcast, un lugar para tus oídos.